Welcome back, Collective. For those of you who are new, my name is David William Pierce, Tantric Conversational Hypnotherapist and aligned yoga specialist. And today, this video is for you if you've ever felt like you're playing a role in life, but not really living it, like something's missing, even when everything looks right on the outside. Because what if I told you that your suffering isn't a mistake, but a map? A divine pointer leading you towards liberation. I've had to face this myself. I've ticked nearly all the boxes I was supposed to tick in life. I had all but wife and kids left on my matrix bingo card. I had the fancy education, I had the career in finance, I owned property, and yet I was depressed. And the ache for something more just wouldn't leave. I was living a life that wasn't aligned with my essence nature. And it wasn't until I encountered these tantric teachings that I began to actually understand that my discomfort wasn't something to fix. It was something to follow. In non-dual Shaiva Tantra, one of the core obstacles to liberation is called āṇava, the impurity of individuation. It's not moral impurity. It's not badness. It's the forgetfulness that you are not just this limited self. It's the contraction that occurs when we mistake the character for the actor, the thought for the thinker, the story for the soul, when we say things like, I'm not enough. I'm a failure. I must be this kind of person to be loved. I'm unattractive. I don't feel lovable. Each of these is a mask over the truth that you are inherently whole. A unique expression of Shiva consciousness playing a part in the great cosmic dance. And I know that it can be difficult to recognize this in the moment, in those dire days of despair, but here's the grace in it. The impurity isn't a curse, it's a compass. It arises so that you may recognize it, suffer its limitations, and be propelled towards the truth of your wholeness. It is your internal, divinely gifted sat-nav guiding you home when you feel completely off course. Like a grain of sand in the oyster, the irritation becomes the pearl. Like a play that makes you weep, your sadness wakes your soul. So the path isn't about becoming someone else. And of course, the inevitability of change means you will evolve your story over time, but who you are, your essence, is infinite. And it's about letting go of the parts you cling to as me, that story, and relaxing back into that full spectrum self. I have a story to illustrate this. Let me tell you about Prem, who was struggling with identity, struggling with wholeness and belonging, and couldn't find freedom. Prem had worn many masks, the helpful one, the spiritual one, the strong one, each one carefully crafted for the roles he thought he had to play in the theatre of life. But one quiet evening he sat by water that mirrored more than just his face. He whispered, "Who am I without these roles?" The river didn't answer. It reflected. And in that reflection, Prem saw not one face, but many. Child, lover, teacher, fool. None of them wrong. None of them whole. A voice stirred from within, soft as mist on water. You are not just the actor. You are the stage. You are the light that reveals the play. You're all of it. That night, Prem let go of needing to be any one thing. He let himself feel the joy, the grief, the frustration, the confusion, and in doing so, he didn't become someone new. He remembered who he'd always been. That night, as he fell asleep, he repeated to himself, Aham, Pūrṇaḥa, I am whole. Aham, Pūrṇaḥa. So, how do we live this? Well, one, you can just press pause and feel. When suffering arises, simply ask, what am I believing right now that makes me hurt so much? We have these beliefs that we hold, and when we can identify them and recognize that they're no longer serving us, we have the opportunity to rewrite a new belief and begin to re-engineer our reality. Secondly, we can name the role. What identity am I clinging to? The helper, the partner, the spiritual one. Because with these identities come baggage, whether our own or whether adopted by the world that the label was created by. These social narratives, these constructs that we adopt when we pick up a label. When we can learn to let that go, we can, number 3, return to essence. And a way to do this is to use the mantra, Aham Pūrṇaḥa, I am whole. Whisper it like a thread leading you home. Aham Pūrṇaḥa. I'm going to leave information about Sanskrit here and how it's helped me. But I'll say in short, that is a divinely gifted language. It vibrates at the frequency of the thing that it points to. It is a technology and a tool, not just a language. 4, we can shift the focus from story to sensation, from belief to breath. What is true right now is the question to ask. Rather than getting lost in the looping stories of the mind, bring it back to the somatic body. Notice what sensory information you're receiving right now. And that is not what emotion that I'm feeling, because an emotion is the other side of the coin to a thought construct. In Tantric teachings, thoughts and emotions are inextricably linked. You can't have one without the other. Opposite sides of the same coin. Sensation, sensory stimulation, the pleasure of being human, that is sensory. It's not emotion, they're different. And we can tune into, what am I feeling right now? What am I hearing right now? What am I smelling, tasting, seeing right now? It grounds us back into the present moment, into our breath, into our heartbeat, into the right now. And that is what's true. Not the stories, not the emotions, but what is. Let be what is. And this is where Tantric Conversational Hypnotherapy becomes so powerful. In TCH, I don't tell you what your problem is. I don't, as I say, try to put my fish in your pond. I simply attempt to meet you in your experience so fully, without judgment, without rush, that it begins to unwind itself, so that you can clear your own water. By having conversation and using the skills of conversational hypnotherapy, I get to guide your attention through the stories, through the beliefs, through the emotional knots, so that you can remember your wholeness. Not as a concept, but as a living, breathing, felt truth. And from that place, you can consciously access that space beneath. Shine a little light and allow the subconscious mind to reveal itself. Because when you realize that even your suffering is sacred, you no longer need to fix yourself. You just need to feel yourself fully and allow that part of you that hasn't felt seen, heard, or understood to finally get what it needs so that it can fully grasp to then let go. If you're curious to go deeper, to explore the teachings of Tantra and how to embody them in daily life, join us in the Aligned Living Collective, where I share my weekly Tantric studies and the accompanying integration pack and how it's interweaving into my life that week. And if you want to explore your own journey one-on-one, you can find a link to book a free clarity call where I can support you in that unfolding. And we can explore whether and how TCH can support you in this moment. The links to all of that you can find in the description. Thank you for being here, for joining me. Wishing you a beautiful day or night ahead. And remember, the divine is not above you, it's within you. You are the dreamer, awakening within the dream. Aham, Pūrṇaḥa. Cheers.